This is the biggest RC ground effect vehicle in the world, and we're just about to test it out on water for the first time to see if it can take to the air. Yeah, come on, come on, come on! Let's go!
I've spent the past few months building and testing this giant remote control aircraft built from insulation board and powered by large electric motors. It's one of the biggest projects I've so far attempted on the channel, and it was all inspired by the Caspian Sea Monster, which is a giant Soviet ekranoplan that used ground effect to fly over the water. My ground effect plane was built to work just like a full-size ground effect vehicle, flying close to the surface where the airflow between the wings and the ground is trapped. Ground effect reduces wingtip vortices and downwash, creating extra lift and lowering drag compared to free flight. And this means a ground effect plane can fly more efficiently right above the surface. I'd wanted to build the biggest RC ekranoplan in the world, but so far it has hardly flown due to being restricted by the small size of our test field. So now it's time to test it to the limit at a much larger testing location, the local lake. So our aims were simple. We would 1. Make the plane water ready, 2. Prove the plane could take off from the water under its own power, and 3. Fly the plane for as long as possible down the entire lake. In the last video I showed the 8-week process of building this giant aircraft from start to finish, and the first step with that journey was testing a quarter-scale prototype. At first I tested this over the ground, but it struggled to fly consistently in ground effect. After changing the wing angle for increased power augmented ram from the fans, it finally worked. The plane hugged the ground on a cushion of air and became really stable. Next, to see how well it would work over water. This would be very important for finding out whether the larger plane, yet to be built, would be able to fly off the water too. Would the plane be able to ride up on the specially shaped steps on the underside of the vehicle to reduce drag enough to take to the air? On the model, it was working. It skimmed across the lake perfectly and lifted gracefully into the air. This aircraft did take a while to break from the surface of the water though, due to the wings creating quite a lot of drag. Hopefully this wouldn't be too much of an issue on the giant plane. Now to build the full-size plane, and this was a serious challenge as I'd never built an aircraft this big. I switched to insulation board to make the fuselage, adding carbon spars to the wings, and then covered the whole airframe with 24 square meters of fiberglass and 5 liters of resin. This made it super rigid, watertight, and much stronger, although it did add a lot of extra weight. By the time it was ready, the aircraft weighed over 20 kilograms, by far the heaviest RC plane I'd ever built. After waiting for some good weather, we rolled the huge plane out to the field. Even moving it was a challenge, but once in place I could power it up and see if it would fly for the first time. After a good few months of work, we got to an important milestone. But this project was far from over, and the hardest challenge was yet to come. Now we would need to upgrade the plane to make it a fully operational watercraft. There was a bit of an issue though, which we'd have to work around, and that was how to actually get this plane to the local lake.
How far do you want to take it?
Up to this point, the plane had wings that were non-detachable, and I'd hoped that this would be fine for a short journey on top of the ProjectAir transport vehicle. But the first time trying it for size, I realised this wasn't exactly going to be the most practical thing, having the whole plane on top of the roof.
Well, I don't think that's going to work. We're going to have to make this thing a bit more modular.
So the decision was made to completely re-engineer the wings to come off before starting work on the waterproofing. And this wouldn't be the most simple or straightforward of jobs. Using some carbon tubes kindly supplied by Easy Composites, my material sponsor, I set to work building a tube-in-tube spar for the next set of wings.
That one will go inside that one. Oh, God, it's gone.
Narrower diameter tubes would be fitted to the fuselage, while wider diameter tubes would fit into 2 new wing panels made out of more insulation foam board. With these new wings fitted with some XPS foam leading and trailing edges cut on the CNC cutter, we could put it all together.
So what we're going to do is now lift the wing panel onto here, make sure it's all lined up, and then we can mark where the cutouts need to go for these tubes, and then we'll glue the wing panel onto these in situ, and then hopefully just pull the whole wing off, and then it will go on and off like that for transport.
With all of these things, even on huge builds like this one, it's all about coming up with the simplest and most practical solutions, and gluing the wing panels to the carbon in this way would ensure everything was dead straight.
Oh, yes. Perfect.
Oh my god.
Oops. I forgot these were a bit shorter. So these pins here are basically removable, so you just have to pull these out like so, and then the whole wing panel will just go over there. Right, the wings are now done. We've got removable wings. Now I'm a bit worried about how heavy the new wings are because they are made of thicker foam. So what we need to do really is give this aeroplane another test flight. So we're going to do that after we've added some paint, which will get the weight up to what it's going to be on the lake. If this thing can fly with the new heavier wings and all of the heavy paint, then we'll be good to go to the lake, really.
With huge projects like this, it's all about taking it one test at a time. So, would the new modular design be strong enough? Well, we would find out on this next perilous test flight.
Right, I'm a bit worried. It's way too windy, but it's the best weather we're going to get this week, and it'll be a good test to see how well it does, really. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh God, oh God.
Well, that was a bit hairy.
Oops.
A bit of
Well, at least we've seen how high it can go now.
That impact had damaged the tail, a potential weak point found, but it had just about survived enough to attempt another short test hop. Hopefully this time lower down to the ground, in ground effect. This time the wing fence came off. That was another thing to fix. It was a good job we were finding these problems now. The wings had worked, but the tail was too weak and the wing fences needed reinforcing. So we had quite a few things to fix before we would be able to go to the lake. Emma worked on strengthening the tail and wing fences, adding some new struts and a bit of extra foam here and there. And while this was being done, I focused on adding a new feature to the aircraft that would be important for making it waterproof. These were water pumps that would hopefully ensure the plane didn't end up at the bottom of the lake.
Now, the reason that we might want some of these pumps on board the ekranoplan is that I'm not entirely sure whether the hull will keep out all of the water. So yeah, I think this is a wise decision to just make sure that that we don't have too much water ingress, or at least that we can get rid of it if it does come in. Oops. Okay, it's more powerful than I thought it was going to be. Whee!
The pumps seem to be quite effective, so now to install them on the inside of the aircraft and give them another test.
Okay, right. Water. Pump test in 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Well, hopefully we don't see that on the actual lake, although we might do. Which is why we've got this. This is why we've designed this into it.
It was all looking good. The plane was now much stronger, waterproofed, and now even decorated with some stickers and markings to make it look the part. Now all we needed to do was one final test before heading to the lake to make sure all of the improvements had actually worked.
So the main thing that we've done with the tail is strengthened it with these struts here. So there's these 3D printed parts that connect with this carbon spar, and yeah, this carbon tube is then fixed with bolts through the 3D printed parts, and there's a plate on the top to spread the load. Every Kerbal Space Program player knows struts are the answer, so hopefully they'll be the answer in real life as well. If this all works and yeah, we do see progress, then we'll be happy to take this to the lake immediately.
In the small field, I was finding it difficult to accelerate to enough airspeed to really get airborne, but the plane was able to hovercraft around quite successfully. The main thing was that the plane did look much stronger. All I had to do now was avoid breaking it by doing something silly. This time I wanted to give the aircraft a bit more speed. With some more power, the plane hopped into the air, but then...
Oh no! Oh my goodness, that was a bit close.
Look how close that is. I heard the propellers hit the nettles.
Yeah,
Did you?
I heard it from over there.
I honestly thought we were just going to end up with a crumpled nose there, and we'd have to spend another couple of days rebuilding it. He's all right. He's all right.
He's good.
The giant plane was feeling fantastic, despite not really being able to show its full potential in this small field. But we wouldn't need to wait long to see what this thing was really capable of. It was time to go to the lake. Batteries were all charged, gear prepared, and willing volunteers poised for one of the largest and most ambitious tests I'd so far attempted on the ProjectAir channel, recreating the Caspian Sea Monster with the world's biggest RC ground effect plane.
In real life, ekranoplans like the ones I've based my RC models on were very good at flying under the radar undetected. And if you want to stay off the radar and keep your personal info protected, then you need Incogni, who are sponsoring this video with an ad about protecting your personal info.
Nowadays, data breaches are happening more and more often and on a bigger scale, thanks to the sheer number of commercial databases out there. And personally, I've been receiving more and more scam calls from bots, which is a bit of a problem. Your details can end up in the wrong hands surprisingly easily. Third parties scrape the internet for things like your name, address, social media accounts, and even your financial info or shopping habits.
That information then gets bundled up and sold for profit, which really easily ends up in the hands of scammers. You've got the right to protect your privacy by asking these data brokers to delete the information they have about you, but doing this would take absolutely ages, and personally I've got lots of things to be doing, like building RC aeroplanes.
Incogni works on your behalf to contact data brokers and request removals, pushing back against any objections, effectively removing you from data broker lists and people search sites, unsubscribing you from all of the spam.
A yearly subscription is especially useful as it means that Incogni will keep making removal requests for you. Every time a new record appears, they'll deal with it.
Incogni will protect your privacy in 3 simple steps. 1, you create an account. 2, you give Incogni permission to work on your behalf. And 3, you sit back and let them handle the rest.
So use the code ProjectAir with the link down below to get a whopping 60% off an annual plan. And that's a pretty good deal if you ask me. So take advantage of it, and yeah, thank you very much to Incogni for sponsoring this video.
The weather was almost perfect, with low winds and bright skies, and spirits were high.
You're doing great.
Go more middle.
The first job was to reassemble the plane with its removable wings and tail, and this was super easy thanks to all of the work we'd already put in. Emma put the tail struts back in while I briefed the rest of the team, who included Colin, who would be our powerboat driver, as we'd need a powerboat to chase the aeroplane down the lake.
I'm feeling a bit nervous. The wind is not still, it's not zero, but it's pretty good conditions. It might get worse later on though. At the moment we're just putting the whole aeroplane together, and yeah, and then we're going to do a float test to see how manoeuvrable it is taxiing around the water.
The moment of no return had come. It was time to launch the ekranoplan.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Fantastic! The giant RC plane was finally on the water and hadn't sunk yet.
Super. The hull is actually basically out of the water, so The steps are very buoyant, and that means that there's less chance of water going into the hull because there's less sort of breakage points that are in the water. So yeah, I think the next thing to do is just do a bit of taxi testing around this area over here.
Now I could move on to some more testing to investigate the manoeuvrability of the aircraft close to the dock.
We've just got those left-hand motors going. Oh, it looks so good! So manoeuvrable! It's working! It's doing really well. Okay, right. Maybe we could do a little hop just here.
The plane felt extremely manoeuvrable, which was a pleasant surprise. Now to test the power of the motors to see how draggy the aircraft felt.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little hop, left to right. Woohoo! Well, that felt pretty good. I was finding the aeroplane just then to be bouncing slightly on the water, so I think I need to hold it on the water a bit longer to build up speed, and then with the acceleration I should be able to escape the water's grip and yeah, take off. Water is 700 times more dense than the air, so the whole challenge with this is, will it be able to escape its grip? That's the tricky thing with sea craft, sea aeroplane, seaplanes. What? I know what I'm talking about.
Now mid-morning, the wind was getting up, and we were keen to crack on with the main event, the first attempt at a test flight from the lake. So we loaded onto the powerboat, captained by volunteer Colin, and set sail for the first mission of the day, to see if this thing would actually be able to take off from the water and fly just like a real ekranoplan without crashing.
Oh, beautiful. What a sight to behold.
Great.
Still no water from the pumps as well, that I can see. Okay. Right, clear. All systems go. We are going for the first proper test flight of the giant ekranoplan.
The onboard cameras were set and the aircraft powered on. Now I just had to take a deep breath and go for our first flight. But would the plane take off on the very first attempt?
All right. So yeah, we just go parallel to it basically. Yep. As long as they get the wake. All systems go. We're going to take it very steady. Coming out.
I moved the throttle up to 100% and the aircraft began to break free from the water. But there was a problem. The step wasn't lifting the plane high enough out of the water. With the wings bouncing along the waves, I brought the throttle back and slowed the plane down.
We didn't quite get up airborne then, unfortunately.
This was a potentially huge issue. I'd clearly got something extremely wrong with the hydrodynamics, and they weren't going to be easily fixable at the side of the lake.
So just checking all the systems, checking the water pumps. No water seen. That's interesting. It's too grabby, it seems.
When we first got on the lake round there, I don't know if you were turning it much, but there's one wing that was kind of sticking to the water.
it's feeling like it's just grabbing it a bit too much.
Thankfully, the plane with its removable wings didn't appear to be damaged. Maybe we could try again. A different angle of attack might help. At certain angles, it seemed like the trailing edge of the wing would become unstuck from the water, but then it would hit the water and slow the plane down. The steps under the fuselage weren't lifting the plane high enough out of the water. This was disastrous.
Okay then, I think we'll take it back to base and we'll make some modifications.
I was pretty deflated at this point. The plane just wasn't working, and I was very doubtful whether we'd be able to actually modify it enough at the side of the lake. But we couldn't just give up.
We can't palm like 2 inches back on the front.
Off the back of what? Oh, the trailing edge.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
After a spot of lunch and a cup of tea to properly think everything over, a radical solution was found. What we needed to do was reduce water drag and increase the size of the step that lifted the plane off the water. Thankfully, the Rudyard staff had a few pieces of plastic skirting board, which I thought might be able to be screwed to the step to extend it like a pair of skis. So the next thing to do was to remove some of the trailing edge of the wing, and this would effectively make the lowest point of the wing a little higher, at the cost of potentially reducing our lift. But it should be a worthwhile trade-off. Hopefully now the aeroplane would be able to take off from the water. Would our modifications work? Would the aircraft finally break the water's tension and get airborne?
Okay, down.
Is yours in?
Yeah.
Put the front in. And
Yeah.
I'll give this a push.
Oh! Oh! Oh no!
Right, time for attempt number 2. The plane was reattached to the pursuit boat and the team back on board. Now we could venture out to the middle of the lake once again. I was nervous.
Well, here we go again. We've done all of the modifications we can to the aircraft at the lake. If it doesn't work now, it might never work.
The plane was armed, pointing into the wind and ready to go. After warning some local paddleboarders to watch out for a low-flying giant ekranoplan,
Could you possibly paddle over to that side? Then something might knock you off.
I was cleared for takeoff.
Okay, Hannah?
Yep.
Surely our sketchy modifications wouldn't be enough, would they?
Right, guys. You guys ready?
Yep.
Right, let's see what happens. Power on.
Well, the modifications had certainly made a difference.
Oh, jolly good effort, everyone. Fantastic. That was so good. It's just exactly what it needed. A little less water resistance, and a little more of a step to get up into the air. Oh, what a great feeling. Right, let's try and get it going down the other way.
Sorry, that was boring. that was hard.
Oh, thanks a lot, Colin, for this. It makes a massive difference having a boat.
Do you know what this means?
What?
No, part 3.
That had been just a short test flight, so now it was time for a longer run. How long could it stay aloft?
Right, we're going to do another go at it. So we're going to go all the way to the very end and then just fly it as far as possible. Right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, accelerating now. Yeah, got it.
Oh my gosh!
The plane was back in the air. Accelerating over the water, it achieved the perfect angle of attack. It was absolutely locked in.
Yes. Yes.
The speedboat couldn't keep up with the pace of the aircraft. Through the spray, I was trying to keep the plane as stable as possible, but it was difficult with the wind. I thought it was probably time to bring it in for a safe landing before reaching the far end of the lake. Touchdown! We've done it!
Yeah! Well done everyone. Well done team.
Well done. Oh, sorry, yeah, you're driving.
You should have seen my face when I was flying that. I wish I had a camera on me. Seeing through the spray and everything, I was like, do a good job, James. All my years of flying experience came down to that, you know.
I'd finally achieved my original goal to fly the world's largest RC ground effect plane over water, and achieved my dream of recreating the Caspian Sea Monster with a homemade RC plane. It had completed an incredible 40-second test flight, flying beautifully despite the gusty wind, and survived completely intact thanks to its strength and improved design. For a while, it hadn't looked like it was going to work, but hopefully this all goes to show that with a bit of thinking, some resilience of your own, and a lot of help from your friends, it can be possible to build some amazing things and achieve something truly spectacular. What an epic result. Now the only question is, what's next?
That was so slick.
Right, thanks very much for watching this very big episode of ProjectAir. I really enjoyed making it, and thanks very much to the whole team for helping to get it done in the end. There's a link over here to the next video that I think you should watch next from the channel, and also there's a link down here to the second channel, ProjectAir 2, which is quite new. It's got a couple of videos on there that you might also enjoy, extra content, that kind of thing. So yeah, subscribe to that and subscribe to ProjectAir, of course, and I'll see you on the next project. Bye for now.